I guess playing with Deftly back then, he had to be very considerate of his emotions.
You really have to watch what you said.
What were your first impressions of me, actually?
My first impressions of you. I mean, I didn't know you that well over like TeamSpeak. I mean, it's hard. You're just like cool, funny, like, like really, that's it. Your voice wasn't annoying. That's number one.
And I always thought you were pretty cocky. You were good, but you were cocky. Kind of reminded me of myself a bit, and that's where I feel like me and you are similar because we're both pretty cocky players. We both want to carry. We both like. That's where like, I would say me and Deftly clashed a bit in our team. It was nothing ever serious, but for sure there were arguments on like who would take what, who's getting what resources. Stuff like that was a pretty common trend.
So how do we meet?
Well, it was probably back maybe 5, 6 years ago. We were just hanging out. There would be like a big TeamSpeak server everyone would hang out on.
I feel like we met in solo queue, and then we became friends. We duoed a bit, didn't work out, but then we kind of just awkwardly kept each other on our friends list, you know?
Yeah.
Did we meet in solo queue first, or was it just on C9? I think I played against you in solo queue, and then you did well, so I was just like, okay, cool. And then you joined C9, and I was like, all right, cool. And then we played a lot of WoW together till 5 a.m.
Was it really that long ago?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez.
I mean, we've been out of high school for what, like
Yeah, that's actually
almost
true.
3 years now?
We were still in high school back then, right?
Yeah, we were all, I think literally all 5 of us were in
Went to
school.
yeah. I really enjoyed like those moments back then.
Yeah, I mean, it was just way simpler back then.
Yeah, way less professional, I'd say. Back then, like we had one trip where we went to Argentina, and everyone like, we all moved our beds next to each other, slept with each, not actually like sleep with each other, but like, we were just really like brotherly. I don't know the word, flamboyant with each other. Yeah,
very flamboyant.
yeah. I think the bonds I had like with you guys on Cloud9 Challenger, I never really got to experience even on like LCS teams now.
We just all got along really well, and we kind of had resources in a time where it was rare to have anything.
I mean, back then it was like one of the first teams me and Deftly played on together. We were making like $1,000 a month, and that was bonkers for any amateur team back then. It was just like we were getting way overpaid, and like
I'd never made that much money in my life. That was like my first actual paying job.
It's pretty sick.
I'm like, $1,000 is so much to me. Like, I could eat McDonald's every day, eat Chipotle. Like, I could do whatever I wanted. So
now we're in LCS, and like we're all making like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and like that is like the most insane thing. None of us could have ever like pretended to think that we would be at that point.
what do you think like separated us from like the rest of the amateur players? And like, why are we here, all here in the LCS today?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think I'm a really good player, and like you guys kind of got some of that like good player vibe from me when I was playing on the team. So like you kind of just like absorbed a little bit of my power. And I think that the other amateur teams didn't have me, and that's why none of them were as successful.
Oh, so it was you.
Yeah, I mean,
But you know, back then I thought you were the weakling. You couldn't play carries, only tanks. You're like a budget Alarum back then, you know. Like,
budget Alarum. Ooh.
so. What did you think about like the team atmosphere? From my take, I felt like that atmosphere was completely different than any other atmosphere I've been on.
Yeah, it was like, there was never any hard feelings, which is rare, but also I think that comes down to, you can't emulate an atmosphere when there's no pressure versus when there is pressure. Because we all kind of were comfortable with each other. We had the ability to, as 5 people, like bully each other with no hard feelings and like actually criticize each other.
Since we're all in the LCS now, do you think there were any like common characteristics we all shared and made us like who we are today?
Yeah, I would say like between us, we all strive to find something to improve on like immediately after a game. Like Tanner, I think it was laning almost always. Same with Licorice. For you and I, it was like anything we could do better. Like how do we not get dove here? And it was like after we lose something, we always try to figure out why. I think that was unique because there was no way any amateur teams should have been able to match us.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually wild how we just like within a year, we're all just like Challenger first altogether and then LCS altogether. I mean, I kind of wish we had the chance to play a C9C, but it's unfortunate that couldn't happen.
For me, even though it was like really heartbreaking to break up and separate from my boys, I feel like by throwing myself out there into like a different environment, I feel like I've improved a lot as a player and got to experience like a lot more different things than if I were to like stayed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been cool to stay, but also it would have been hard just in like different ways than it was. Like, the only thing I know for sure is we would have been really flamboyant, like, like just really, really out there, like really.
Like no other LCS team.
I felt a much better connection with all of you guys than I ever did with people in real life, and it was just, I felt like that's when I really grew up. I felt like I grew up with you guys, and that's why I feel so natural when we first met, I think, because we really turned from kids into adults, and now we see each other every weekend at LCS, and like, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, actually, I think you hit it like, spot on.